Hey everybody, it's Christine and Dennis with Chef Demick, and we're making dinner. Tonight we decided to do a better version of our salmon video when we first started, over a month ago.
We're still learning.
We're still learning. So this one's being filmed on the tablet, which should have a better resolution and a wider screen, which makes me very happy. So what we're doing is a peppercorn salmon, making very simple sauce to go with it at the end, but wanted to show you a couple things that we've done. Right here, you've got fresh peppercorns in the spice grinder. This is the same spice grinder that we use to make the garlic and pepper paste with ginger for the Indian food that we made the other night.
That's what we use, but it also has a mixture of what they call rainbow peppercorns, just a combination of several peppercorns.
And you can see avocado oil, organic spicy brown mustard, and one of our favorites, real salt, some garlic, lemons, and there is some beautiful pasture butter. So we're going to show you another way to crush those peppercorns.
Okay, I'm going to get started here. This was done in a little blender, vertical blender, but there are a couple other different ways that you can do it. If you only need a little tiny bit, or you're just in a mood to do this, you can take some peppercorns and a knife, and you put it like that, and you crack it. Okay? Now, for beginners, I wouldn't recommend doing too much of this unless you're going to go really slowly, so you don't turn around and come back and cut yourself. Okay? So you can see that that's about all I want to do with that. I do not want to break it down further because I like you to bite into some nice peppercorns there.
Love the heat.
Now I'm going to take that, and that's about the same as what I've got in here.
Add it to that.
That's one way to do it. Another way. We're real big on showing different ways of doing
There's
things.
always more than one way. Everybody may not have the same equipment. Everybody may not feel comfortable with the knife. Let's try it a few ways so everybody can participate.
Okay.
So you got the mallet here. This is a favorite mallet. This was part of my Halloween costume from a few years ago when I went as a demented doll.
Hence the red.
Hence the red. I had been, I guess, bludgeoning people. At any rate, it perfectly serviceable.
Not really. But...
Not really.
So what we're going to do with this is I'm putting in some plastic. I'm not sealing it completely. I want some air in there. So
You want it to be able to move around and not pop the bag.
Exactly. So don't go too crazy. Don't beat it too much. Otherwise, the plastic itself can open up. And you don't want to do that. So basically, I'm just I'm not even hitting it straight on. You can. I'm hitting it on a slight angle. I'm just trying to break those things out. And the unruly garlic is jumping around.
Yeah, garlic just rolled away. That'll be retrieved.
So basically, that's
you
all.
See, it wants to go.
That's
somewhere.
all I'm doing, and that's a way to break it down. If you don't have the other, or if you're just in the mood to do that, I do all three. I don't. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. So that's that. That's going to be the peppercorns that we are going to use, if you can see that, if I'm not too close.
Yeah, we actually like a lot of pepper, especially
So-
if we're doing a pepper crust on something. Love having a good pepper crust.
Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to leave that pepper on there because I don't really care if the pepper's on there and gets onto the skin. I'm actually going to use the skin on the salmon
Nice.
and cook that. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to cut this into thirds, or close to thirds.
How much of weight are we using here, do you think?
I have no idea. So we're going to start with
It's
that.
over a pound, I can tell you that
Yeah,
much.
there you go. And the pieces are not all exact, which they would be if I was doing it for a client.
Fancy
but I
schmancy
don't
dinner
really
party.
care right
Yeah, and there we go. Some nice,
So,
yeah, those
we're
are
gonna
good
do
pieces
that.
of salmon.
Next, I'm going to take some salt, and I'm going to put salt on it. We like really good salt, and we do not buy Morton's. We buy real salt, or we buy good Himalayan salt. So that's that. I'm going to take that, and I'm going to get a plate, a small one, and we're going to coat the salmon here. Sorry for walking away. But I tell you,
We always think we're more set up than we are.
or in kitchens you're doing things all the time, and regular
a lot of
restaurants.
movement around, so you're doing, anytime you're
So
cooking, you're
if
moving around.
You try to get everything that you need, but if you don't, you either go for it or you yell at somebody else to do it for you. Of course, we're not going to do that. We're going to be kind of nice right here,
Well, for the
and
moment, we'll see what happens.
not do too much yelling. So that's all I'm doing. Is I have nothing else on there other than some salt. And people are probably looking at me going, "You're nuts for putting all that pepper on there." And maybe I am. But you know what? That's the way we like to
We're
eat it.
weirdos. We like it
When
that
you
way.
when you're working in restaurants and you're making a peppered salmon, or you're making a peppered beef or something, that's about how much you use. Now you only do it on the one side, even though I plan on cooking both. So that's what I'm going to do. Christine's going to get started with the things on the right-hand side, and while she's waiting for that to heat up, I'm going to move the salmon back just a little bit and get some zest.
And all I'm doing here is I've got this pan heating. We're going to go to probably about medium high on that. We want to make sure we're going to get a good sear on this. And Dennis is doing lemon zesting. You've already been schooled in lemon zesting. You can see the previous video for that. And actually get the fake bloody mallet out of here.
Yeah, that was just for effect.
So what he's going to do is add a little bit of the lemon and pepper together. It's a very nice combination. And it'll also be a component of our sauce. And
Yeah.
you've seen him do lemon zest like this. This is the quick way for us.
I mean, we're assuming you've looked at the other videos, and which are it's very sparse at this point because we are just starting out on this, but soon we will have lots of videos. So I'm taking that and I'm just using a French knife and rocking it back and forth and making sure that my fingers are back, that my thumb's back, and I'm resting it off my knuckle here so that I do not cut myself. Now that's some zest I can use. You can use regular zesters too if you want, but I don't want. So this is what I like to do. So I'm putting the zest on here now, and I'm just going to let it set, and maybe some of that will come off when we turn it over on there, but at least we'll get the flavor.
Absolutely.
So how are we doing on that right
It
there?
should be done. It's heating up. It's heating up not as quickly as I'd like. My Meissen pans seem to heat more quickly than this all-clad. We're using a non-stick tonight, and I forgot that we had this all-clad, but it was part of a set, and it's actually done fish before, and it's beautiful. It really is. So to test it all out.
So I'm going to take over this part of it, and Christine's going to start cooking.
And he's not bubbling yet. So what I'd like to do...
I would turn the heat up just a little bit.
I did. The heat's already almost on 9, so we don't have far to go from there. One thing I am going to do is chop this garlic now for us. So we have that set and ready to go. While the pan heats, that's a great thing to do. So what I do with that, simply take off that tough little end there, peel it out, and I'm not going to worry about the green in there. Big controversy on the green. Currently, the green is supposed to be okay, so we're leaving it. And
the oil is
there we
beginning
go.
to bubble now, so
Test my little piece of lemon peel right now. You can see that bubbling away.
it's beginning to.
So
See,
we know that that's going to be hot enough to take care of the
you want to get it
salmon.
hot, but it starts smoking. If it's a little tiny bit of smoke on that, it's okay, and then you need to get the product into the pan. But if it starts really, really smoking, then you're just burning your oil, and you don't want to add burnt oil to the dish.
No, that doesn't taste very good. And the nice thing about the avocado oil is it's got an incredibly high smoke point. You can see right here, high heat, up to 500 degrees. So
Exactly.
it doesn't start smoking till it gets over 500 degrees.
It's
That
al-
means you have a lot of leeway. You don't want to go crazy with it, but you're able to let it heat to the point that you're going to be able to get a really, really nice crust on this salmon, or even sear a steak if you're doing that on the inside. So I'm going to shove the garlic to the side here. And let's start out with one piece of the salmon. Move the garlic skin, and now it's heating up.
just beginning to.
It's not quite as loud as I would like it,
I
but
would add a little
we're going to
more
let it
oil.
add a bit more. There we go.
Once it gets going, it's not.
And now you can start to hear it. That's
Yeah.
always when you start hearing that
You
sizzle.
can see the sizzle on there. So she's going to add more. Now you'll notice one thing when she puts it down there. Now watch her put it on there and start to move it. The reason you do that is once it starts to sit and it sets, and so you want to move it a couple times so that once it's on there, it doesn't stick to the bottom, and so it's a little bit more pliable. So twist it a little bit, the one in the middle, and just so they can see. There you go. See how it's moving
There.
around?
Kind of settles it in
That's
that
what
way.
you
want
wanna
to make
do.
sure that it's not sticking anywhere.
So once you turn that, over part way through, then you're going to it's going to set right now and get some color on it, but also it'll come loose now at any point in time. I would say probably you're looking at probably about 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes on that side before you flip it over. And when you flip it over and you cook the skin side, you're only going to cook that for about 2 minutes. Just because you want to crisp it up a little bit, but you don't want it to really come apart.
And there is, it's a couple schools of thought on that. A lot of people will not eat the fish skin. Understand that completely. We learned from somebody that yes, indeed, you can crisp up salmon skin and a few others, and it actually adds a lovely dimension to the dish.
Oh, it's wonderful.
And there's so many different preparations, but once we tried the salmon skin, I'm no longer afraid of it. Actually look forward to it in something like we're doing right now.
Now, what we are planning on doing with our meal tonight, we're doing it this way. You could technically cook the whole thing on top of there. You would wind up turning them on the side, each side, cooking the skin. But what we're going to do is we're going to sear that part of it. We're going to the bottom part, the flesh part. We're also going to sear some of the skin. We're going to put it in a pan, which you see behind there, that has foil on it, and then we're going to put it in the oven and finish it in the oven.
Okay. Now you can see how the crust browned up a little bit.
And see how it sets, and it sticks on there. Be the same thing if you were doing a steak, except doing a steak you would do it on both sides, and you would also cook both sides for a while. Now the piece in the middle seems to be a little bit thicker than the other two, so we'll probably take that out last to put it in a pan, so that when it goes into the oven, that will be the one that comes out last. So we've been into it about 45 seconds, flipped onto the skin, and she's going to move it around a little bit again, like we talked about, and so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. Now you can still do it this way if you want, even if you're going to remove it from the skin, just to get a little bit more flavor on the other side. We're going to eat the skin, so it's not a problem. But if you were going to take it and not eat the skin, you would finish this in the oven, and then you can run a spatula right underneath in between the skin and the flesh, and it'll come right out. So the skin will stay onto the pan, or onto the foil in this case, and then you can eat the rest. I prefer to do it this way rather than cut it and not have skin on it altogether. But that's just me.
Now he's crackling and popping a little bit, which means our skin is crisping up.
Exactly. Yeah. So you let it go about 2 minutes. I think we're close to there now. Let's see how the other side looks. Okay.
And it's got a nice color to it. I don't want it to
There
break.
you go. So we've got it's crisping up. There you go. See that? Now turn that on the side there. That one, since it's a little bit bigger. Not that one.
Oh, this one?
The one that's in the pan.
Oh, we're going to put the side on them.
And you
Good
can do
idea.
this if you were going to cook it completely in the pan. I would recommend doing something like this, where you cook each side too, besides the top and bottom.
Searing just really makes a difference with salmon. I absolutely love it that way. The brownish flavor. I don't like it when it's white and runny or too soft. I like a cooked piece of salmon. Dennis, on the other hand, Dennis really enjoys having it a little bit more rare. So I have a feeling that this one is going to be his piece.
Yeah,
So we have a little more control.
You know, I have
over
a
it.
feeling too. And you see how it's got a little bit of color on that, but it's helping it set.
And you also notice how the crust is stuck to it, which is really
Exactly
what you want, because that's the end result. You were serving this to somebody, that's your presentation right there. The crust is the whole point of it.
Exactly. So we're going to take that
I am going to turn
out.
the heat down just a tad right here, because I'm going to be using this pan to make the sauce. So here's our third and final piece of salmon going onto the foil right there.
And that's going to go directly into the oven right now. I have it on broil in the oven, so we're just going to put it on the bottom shelf and let it cook a little bit more. And then we'll check it after a little bit.
All right.
So,
I'm adding
the garlic that was
garlic
cut.
that was cut. A little bit more in there.
Oh, come on, get that garlic.
I know.
All right. So she's going to cook
Sidway's
that
garlic.
with a little tiny bit of the avocado oil.
And this already
Just
has
so it gets
what,
a little bit of color on it before she adds
a little
the
bit
butter.
of the salmon caramelization is still in there too. So you're going to be getting all
can-
the levels of flavor
Okay,
from
you
that.
can probably see the garlic starting to brown, and we'll add a little bit of, what do you want to add? The butter,
I think
the
I want to
water?
add the little bit of the whole butter. Well, 2 pats of the whole butter. It's not exactly a little bit of the whole butter, but hey.
She's turning it down a little bit. You just we love brown butter. We just don't want it to turn really, really dark and bitter. So that's
I'm
what
going to
she's doing.
I'm going to offset it, and I'm going to grab a tiny bit of water. I don't feel like opening a big broth right now.
You could do a broth. You can do
So I've walked
white
over
wine.
to our AquaTrue water filter and gotten a little bit of water out of the receptacle. That's going to sizzle.
Now the reason we're doing this is we like simplicity, especially for home. And if you were in a restaurant, you could do the same type of thing. You could add some type of dry white wine to it. But we're going to add a little bit of
About 2
mustard.
tablespoons of mustard, because I love mustard with salmon. Dennis doesn't particularly dislike it either. Because it's a non-stick pan, I'm actually going to use the flat of this polystyrene. Not polystyrene. Oh, let's just call it plastic for the hell of it.
There you go,
Plastic. There we go. And incorporate that mustard in there.
No.
And you can see I don't have any real need to thicken it,
No.
because the mustard just took care of that for
So
me.
it's a simple sauce. If you don't like mustard, just leave it out. If you like white wine, you can add a little bit of a dry white wine to it. Or a Gewürztraminer if you want something little spicy.
Gewürztraminer and fish are really nice together, and that is a
Exactly.
lesson for another day, but that's definitely
Yeah,
something we're going to share
we'll do
with
something
you.
on that and cook with that occasionally.
So, fresh lemon juice,
Eventually, I should
mustard, dregs of the pan, deglazed, whole butter, a few stray peppercorns, and all of that beautiful garlic that cooked up right there. So there's your simple pan sauce.
We're going to put that off to the side. Normally we'd add a little bit of pepper, but we already know that
We've
there's
got
a
enough
lot of
pepper
pepper
going on.
So we're not going to need a pepper.
So
for this.
onto a cool burner. And that gets to sit there for a moment until we decide salmon is ready. We'll be able to take that out.
Okay, 1 minute here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it would look like, assuming that the salmon is going to cook all the way. I would assume that the little salmon were about 2 or 3 minutes away from the way I like it. So I'm going to take a piece of that out and just show you what you
4
would do
minutes
on
away
a
from the way
plate.
I like
Exactly.
it. Well, the smaller pieces, it's all
we're
going to
all
even
different.
out.
So Christine, could you take that
I got
camera
it.
there? Perfect.
As I look at that sauce, and that actually looks the same color as some turmeric ice cream base that I've made in the past. So
The other thing that you could do with that sauce, if you like capers, you could add capers to it. that would be real nice in there too.
Capers would be lovely. Actually, I think I'm going to add some capers to mine because we got 14 jars of capers. Don't ask me how that happened. Nothing here makes sense. But I decided to line everything up in the refrigerator, and it was a little sobering. But since I like capers, not that sobering because you can always use them.
There we go. So I'm just wiping off the cutting board a little tiny bit. I'm going to grab the salmon out of the oven, and we're going to put some of the sauce onto a plate and show you what the finished product would look like.
And we don't need that knife anymore either. It's like this is a do as I say, not as I do thing. We see us leaving crap laying around like that, especially blades. Don't do that. Remove it to a safe area, especially away from pets and children. Well, children and pets. I don't know. It depends on who you live with.
Okay, I'm
who are you looking
taking
out for?
one of the many jars of capers that we have.
Wide world of capers.
Exactly. And I'm just going to add some to this.
Oh, that's good.
Because I like capers too. And then I'm going to check that salmon. You can see I'm stalling a little bit for the salmon.
Creative pause, we'll call
exactly.
it.
We do not. We don't have like 50,000 people running around underneath grabbing things and doing pre-cooked things.
And the cats are all too freaked out to actually be in here and be of any use, since when is a cat of any use?
So what we're going to do here is I've got a little plate just so you can see what's going on. You don't have to serve it on a little plate. But in this case, because it's a type of thing where you have a crust on it, I prefer not to have the sauce on top of it. So I'm just going to take this, and actually I'm going to take, well, no, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to find another one because we have a lot of these.
I mean, it's like the crap we have in this kitchen. It's like if you need one, we've got 9.
Okay, so I'm going to take this.
A little bit of skin left behind, but that's okay.
And to keep it from doing that, you could take some fresh parsley and put that on there. You could, and this would typically go with something else. Like in our case, we are going to be cooking some other greens, escarole with garlic, and what else? Have we decided yet?
We didn't really make that decision, but I'm good with that for the moment.
Okay, that sounds good. So I'm going to cut...
And pardon me, but I just ate the piece of crisp salmon skin, and between the butter, the lemon, the oil, everything, oh my God, it is incredible. So
take a...
And here we go.
That would be...
There is a lovely salmon.
And it was simple. The sauce was simple. You didn't have to add any type of flour or anything to it. So basically, you've got salmon, you've got peppercorns, you've got zest, and you've got some butter, capers, garlic that's been lightly toasted, and what else, Christine?
That pretty much sums it
Yeah.
up. And so there you go.
Always good ingredients. Make sure you always use good ingredients.
Use fresh ingredients, use good ingredients. Enjoy all of it, but here you go.
I'm
He's
going to add a little bit of salt on the
big
top.
shadow of his hand.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
And
up close, gorgeous, and you'll have to excuse us because we're just going to figure out dinner now. So there you have it. Peppercorn crusted salmon with a butter, mustard, caper, and lemon sauce. This is Chef Demick, Dennis and Christine, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Let us know what you're doing. Bye-bye.